So Genshin Impact's newest region is out, and I asked myself, is it worth to come back for this? Because the region actually looks quite interesting. And I know a lot of my viewers are gonna call me crazy, because all I've been playing and create content about since a year almost is only about Wuthering Waves. But this is not gonna be a comparison video. What I want to share in this video is actually my thoughts after having played Nodkrai, as a player who actually quit a year ago. So in this video I will try to answer you guys' question, is it worth to come back? But here's a little bit of context on why I quit Genshin Impact. I quit Genshin Impact in 5.2, when Natlan pretty much came out. I just could not handle that whole Disney Jurassic World mashup. Natlan has just ruined my immersion of the game, dropping DJ pulls, flying guns, a motorbike on the Pyro Archon, and Nodkrai just looks so much more mature. The characters are actually adults, at least most of them. Like, this region just feels a lot like Genshin Impact again, and I was missing this in Natlan especially. To be honest, this update just feels like a nostalgia bait update, but in the best way, because it actually works. We finally got characters that fans have been waiting for years. I was waiting for Barca. Like, really, these developers made Barca such a big mystery to the game. But not only him, Alice is also here. Klee's mother, a character that we have interacted with back in the first summer event that we got. It just goes years back. So just these two alone got me really interested into Nodkrai already. And seeing also all these Fatua appear, I was already very interested to finally come back to Genshin and give this region a try. So here's my experience having finished the full Archon quest that we got with the Lunar Update 1. I want to talk about the region itself first. For me, a good Genshin region has to nail three things: a good cast of characters, a beautiful immersive region to explore, and a story that actually keeps me hooked. The character cast of this update is fantastic. Let me showcase some of them, because I think some of these characters might be one of the best designed characters so far. We have the beautiful Lalma that is connected very deeply into the story of this quest. We have Nefer, also quite an important character. We have Jahoda, which seems to be a more comedic relief character. We also have Aino and the Nefer, a great comedic duo again. Overall, I just liked most of these characters, and that's why I also enjoyed this quest quite a bit. Colombina especially carried this whole update. Every encounter just felt really special. Like, the developers really cooked with her character. Might be because of her design. They even try out new stuff in this update that we have never really seen before. You see, Colombina has this very beautiful domain where she lives. In this domain there's beautiful music playing and everything is full of flowers. Like, you can tell that these developers most likely were inspired of the Nier Automata map that also looks like this. And sometimes when you go back to this domain, it will actually trigger random interactions with Colombina. Like, we've not seen anything like this before in the game. Like, one time she tries to jump scare you, and sometimes you have to look for her and she's like chilling on the craziest places in this domain. Like, I really thought that's a cool feature that they added. It just makes the game world so much more immersive, like she's actually living there. The character interactions have quite improved with this update, showcasing the personalities more of each of the characters. I found this was quite the improvement. And since we're there, let's talk about the story. Well, it's just the beginning of the update, it's quite early to talk about it, but I got pretty much hooked. This story felt like it finally progresses the main plot, the actual Teviot story of Genshin Impact, which is a huge improvement for me, and for many people even a reason to play this game again, since a lot of the previous regions felt so isolated and had a story on their own, not progressing the Celestia story or the sibling story. But this time it's different. We finally get exactly this plot. We learn about Celestia, we learn about the history of Teviot. We learn about how the Traveler traveled with a spaceship to this planet. A lot of this stuff just sounds crazy. And the best of all, it got me interested to the story again. I call it again nostalgia bait. Finally introducing the Shades, the Sinners, the Moon Goddess. So much important lore. Like, this region feels like it's the most meaningful region in Genshin so far. While the region, the characters, and the plot so far seem really good, Genshin still has a lot of flaws. One of the biggest flaws is definitely the lack of cutscenes or animations. The 6.0 or Lunar Update 1 Archon quest took me almost 10 hours and it only has like 12 minutes of cutscenes. I mean, this is a ridiculous bad ratio of cutscene to gameplay. While the cutscenes are actually really epic and gave me a surprise at the end, I just really wish we could at least have like double the amount, or if not triple, to make these 8 hours actually feel worth it. So that's definitely a huge issue for me. But overall, Lunar Update 1 was just a really strong start with the story. Easily one of the best stories we've ever gotten. The pacing actually did improve a little bit and characters seem to be more expressive. It's not really that crazy better, but it's like 10% better. Sadly, Nodkrai also suffers from the Genshin sickness, where you sometimes waste your time with puzzles that take a long time, annoying NPC interactions that feel unnecessary, and a lot of the dialogue and bloat feels like it's just stretched out. And Nodkrai sadly is not an exception for this. Why does it take so long? Oh god. Peak gameplay, by the way. This is literally peak, man. That just did not excite me at all and just dragged the quest even more out. Nonetheless, there's still a long way to go for storytelling improvements. Having talked enough about the story now and the characters, let's talk about the region, because this one felt like it was definitely worth to check out. The region itself is gorgeous, it's beautiful. The whole thematic with the moon, the colors of this region, the landscapes. Everything is so immersive. The atmosphere is peak. Adding on top of that is also the music, which is straight up magical. It just feels like it has these Scandinavian freerun soundtrack. Like if you guys have watched freerun, you will know what I mean. Some of the soundtrack just hits perfectly, making exploration just also feel quite better. And while the region and the story seems really promising to me for now, I still have a lot of issues with the core gameplay experience from Genshin. Especially with the lack of quality of life in this game. Like, this game still has no overflowing resin, I don't know why. But most importantly, the power creep since Natlan and Nodkrai is crazy. Especially since Natlan and Nodkrai, they have also started to lock behind mechanics or even elemental reactions now with Nodkrai behind a paywall. Some enemies or bosses even require these new elements even to be defeated faster. They literally introduced new enemies so you pull the new characters, otherwise you just have a harder time. And that just feels horrible. Especially as somebody who comes back to the game. I don't have enough, I don't have Skirk or a Shofir. I'm missing so many strong units that seem to be meta right now. But we have like now characters like Varessa and Mavuika that hit like almost 1 million damage with one rotation. So the damage numbers have just skyrocketed since Natlan. Pretty much there's a massive power creep issue. I also want to talk about the core combat from Genshin Impact a little bit, because you would expect that this game would have evolved in the past 5 years, making newer characters more fun to play or make the gameplay more innovative. Just give the characters a bit more depth. Pressing E and Q gets boring after 5 years, I would say. But sadly, with Nodkrai, we don't really have a lot of improvement in this regard. Like if you have played Wuthering Waves or PGR or any other game that has just more impactful, more dopamine-like combat that gives you a slow motion when you dodge, or a parry, Genshin Impact still doesn't have anything like this. A lot of the combat just feels very unrewarding because of that. It really just feels like something is missing in this combat. I would have wished that newer characters just would have more depth nowadays, giving more skill expressions rather than pressing E and Q. But that's literally what most characters feel like, even in Nodkrai and 5 years later. That's also why a lot of people don't even enjoy the combat nowadays anymore. It also revolves too much around elemental reactions rather than the character's own damage. So it won't matter if you're bad at dodging or learn the boss mechanics. You can brute force most bosses just by abusing the elemental reactions, which just makes it quite boring. And since I'm also somebody who came back to the game after a year, I have a lot of thoughts also on missing quality of life. One thing they still have not changed, not even with Nodkrai, is that the weapon materials, or some of the materials, are still locked behind weekdays in domains. Which means you can only get this material at some specific day of the week. I don't know why they're not changing this. It's been 5 years and it's one of the most annoying features. I also would love to say that the stamina bar is really freaking annoying as well. Why do you spend stamina when you're just running around in the open world, even outside of combat? Also, the game still does not have a skip button, which would just benefit every player that would get bored at some characters' interactions. And another huge issue I encountered as somebody who just came back, tried to catch up with my account, is that weekly bosses can only be defeated once. Like, one character is gonna take me multiple months to max them out, which is just ridiculous. This game has over 100 characters and I'm like locked behind like crazy. Like, this game just needs so much quality of life, it's insane, and these developers are not doing enough. Not even with Nodkrai, sadly. Are these developers even playing their own game? I've been wondering about this sometimes. Another issue that I always had was having chests in a game in the open world that only give 2 primogems. I don't know, there's not a worse feeling in this game, to be honest. Knowing that you have to farm like hundreds of chests to get 1 pull is freaking insane to me, that this is still a thing. I would even say 5 primogems feels bad as a reward for players to explore. Because sometimes you explore for multiple hours and you maybe end up with, at most, 1 pull, which just does not seem right for a player's playtime to reward ratio. And while puzzles seem easier and faster now, the game still is very unrewarding. I also checked out the pull amount that they gave with the newest updates. Almost every update just gives like 50 to 70 pulls. It's just not enough. It just feels bad. Also, to this day, I wonder why Star Rail and Zenless get like 10 free pulls or a login event every patch, but Genshin does not, so that's also one huge flaw that this game still has, even with Nodkrai. Not even talking about the weapon banner, because this one is also completely a scam still. Since you can lose the 50-50, it's not guaranteed, and you also might get the wrong weapon on the banner. There's still 2 weapons on it. And another issue that I always had was the Abyss, because this one is still the same since 5 years. It's an endgame mode in Genshin that got no improvements. They could have added new floors, made the domains more creative, or add more funnier buffs, or do anything with this mode. Like, they did not touch this game mode at all. But don't worry guys, we have 2 more endgame modes now, right? We have the Imaginary Theater, which was the saving grail, right? But no, people hate this game mode. It requires too many characters and it's not even that fun, even having roguelike mechanics. Like, most people don't even have 17 characters properly built. And even if they do, remembering all those kits is a freaking headache. Just let us use 1 team or 2 teams that you enjoy, and that should be enough. Why are you forced to like 20 characters to play that you don't even like? This game mode is flawed in its core, and I don't even know who the hell accepted this being a thing in the game. Oh wait, I know. Hoyoverse. Because the more characters you need, the more you need to pull.
I like money.
And if you have not played Genshin for a while, there's actually another endgame mode next to the Imaginary Theater, making it now 3 endgame modes in total. This new mode, this Stygian Onslaught mode, is actually focusing around bosses. But funny enough, as I mentioned, some of these bosses require now these new Lunar reactions that only new characters have. So if you don't have these characters, you struggle a lot. I just managed to barely defeat these bosses with my overpowered Mavuika team. So if you don't have Mavuika, you probably cannot even clear most of this content. I even checked on YouTube, free-to-play accounts are really struggling to clear this endgame content. I also took a look at the NPC designs for Genshin's Nodkrai update, because I feel like that most of the time Genshin has really lazy design NPCs that just throw you off from your immersion. Like, you see your characters interact with these NPCs many times, and then you look at the NPC and it's like, oh my god, these look like from a different game. It's just lazily done and it makes the experience just worse. So sadly, not really design improvements for the NPCs here. But with all these flaws, there's actually at least one new system that I enjoy in Genshin Impact's Nodkrai update, which is this new monthly reward system. You see, you can now get duplicates of 5-star characters, even limited ones, just by doing your dailies frequently. Do your dailies for 8 weeks and you get a free 5-star. That's what it basically does. And I think that's a really good feature. It actually makes you motivated to play the game more and actually do your dailies, since it is a really good reward. This is definitely one of these systems I wish other gacha games would also have. Long-term player rewards. At least one good thing in this update next to the story. Also, I want to show you guys this huge list that I put in a survey, so you can kind of see where I'm coming from, which improvements I need to see so I can actually enjoy Genshin Impact again. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. There's a lot more. Since I don't want to read everything here, feel free to pause the video, maybe read it for yourself. These are a lot of the issues that I have with the game, the core of the game. But this pretty much covers my first experience with Lunar Update 1. I think it was quite a positive one, a positive surprise for me. I think the characters alone and the region pretty much carries this update. I'm not gonna lie, I still prefer wuwa's gameplay, the endgame there. Everything around wuwa is mostly better in every aspect still, especially the storytelling. But this is not a comparison video. Like, I generally think Nodkrai is a good update. If you are somebody who enjoyed Fontaine and still enjoys the storytelling of Genshin, I think you actually have here one of the best updates that these developers have ever delivered. So coming to the question, should you play this? Is it worth playing? I would say it is worth playing when, first, you still care about the lore of Genshin Impact. Second, you like the new characters, especially Colombina. Could be somebody who would just interest you even in pulling them. And third, you need to have a lot of patience sometimes in this game with exploring, the stamina bar, the lack of rewards, the dialogues that really stretch out a lot of times, annoying NPCs, the lack of quality of life, the lack of cutscenes, the time it takes to level up your characters or max them out, the bad artifact system that still is way too expensive to level up any artifact, like it takes you still a month to maybe get at least one good artifact, endgame modes that are not in particular fun, very stingy rewards, and the open world exploration barely gives any pulls, to be honest. Each update barely gives any pulls. There's so many systems that just feel so outdated still, even 5 years later, and Nodkrai still did not fix that. But if you can look past all of this and you just care about the story, I genuinely think you can get some enjoyment out of Nodkrai. And if you cannot be like that, you probably will not enjoy Genshin. And the decision that you quit the game was probably the right one. These developers did improve a bit of the game, but it is definitely not enough where I could say it's now 100% worth to come back. Like most of the content of Genshin, I don't even enjoy playing, but I do enjoy the quests. I do enjoy the story, especially the characters. I select the parts of the content that I enjoy and I'll play these parts. And the other things I will probably mostly just ignore. Not everything has to be perfect in every game, right? But let me know, guys, what are your thoughts about this? Are you coming back to Genshin? Did Nodkrai also give you some nostalgia bait with showing Warka, Alice, Colombina? Did you come back because of that? And what do you think so far? I really do appreciate you all for watching this video, and this far. This was a pretty long one. Subscribe, of course, if you want to see more content like this, and give this a thumbs up to support my content. Thank you all for watching. I see you all in the next one. I love making circles with my bike, guys. It's so fun. Holding a button